setting yourself up for success as a trader. How can you do that, and how does it actually work in the real world? Because I understand there's a difference between theory and reality, so we're going to actually take a look at reality. But yeah, let's talk about setting ourselves up for success. Real quick, how are you going to set yourself up for success if you were building a house? Well, it all starts with the foundation, right? If you don't get the foundation correct, then sure, you still may be able to build a house, but you're going to have all sorts of headaches. Hey, who knows, maybe it'll just fall right over, but it's not going to be any sort of long-lasting solution if you don't start with a good, solid baseline or foundation. And the same is true for trading and really anything in life. But in this example, of course, we're going to talk about trading. And with trading, it is a journey. And that's what this line here is going to represent. Trading is a journey. And when you start till, it's up to you how long that line is going to keep on extending. But point here being, it is a journey. And the most important part about this journey is establishing a foundation, or in our case, a baseline. So I'm just going to make this baseline right there. That's supposed to be a perfect rectangle, not quite, but you get the idea. That is our baseline as a trader. And within theory, yeah, this is what you want. You want the journey to stay nice and beautifully within the baseline. Just, oh yeah, it stays right in there, stays within the foundation. Everything's great. Everything's, fine and dandy. There's butterflies, there's sweet old little ladies, there's apple pie, there's rainbows all over the place. It is a beautiful, beautiful scene. But that's theory, right? In reality, what does a trading journey look like? Maybe you're not aware, but I'm going to tell you right now. The trading journey is going to look something like this. It's going to be all over the place. And that's just the reality of the matter. The voices, the mental game that comes with trading plays a lot, in how, you vary up and down. But that's how it's going to be. That's the reality is being denoted there by that pink line. So setting yourself up for success, going back to the baseline. What does a baseline allow you to do? Well, it's going to allow you to correct yourself. It's going to allow you to identify problems. It's going to allow you to say, all right, I was doing that. I should have been doing this. So in order to correct all that, I need to focus on, and then there's some other, variable in the equation. Now, if you don't have a baseline, then it's impossible to reference anything. It's impossible to figure out what exactly is going wrong because you don't have a baseline. So you're never going to be, you may think you know what's wrong, but in all actuality, you don't. And the more I think about this is kind of like a part 2. So what I'm going to do is down below, I did a video called, why do 90% of traders fail? And I go in details on why that's the case. And the main case there, in a nutshell, is people's baseline, people's foundation is free education. And the problem with that is you always have that, is this even right? Is this even good information? Am I even learning it in the proper order? And you always have that wonder out there where you just don't know if your baseline is even the proper baseline in the first place. And this is where education, training comes into play. Now, yes, I am biased towards my educational programs that I offer in my courses, but even if you never spend a dime with me, as I always say, that's fine, but find somebody that you trust. Find somebody that you feel comfortable with, that you like their teaching style, and go with their educational package, because with education, assuming it's done right, it's going to be structured, it's going to be mapped out in a fashion that makes sense and is going to be teaching you the proper things. And when you have that, you have a baseline. Now, I get it. Clay, this is all theory. This is just let's actually take a look at more reality with this email that I got from a trader that's part of my community. So before I even get to that, I do want to just make note that just because you buy my course, buy somebody else's course, buy anything, does not entitle you, does not guarantee that you're all of a sudden going to be successful. Well, geez, I didn't go the free educational route. I spent money on education, therefore I'm guaranteed to have success. No, there's still going to be hiccups. There's still going to be rough patches. But the big key is at least now you have the baseline. You now know if you start to venture. And not only do you know, hey, that I am venturing off, you know why. You know how to fix it. And you know the big, what you should actually be doing. But with no true baseline, you may not know until you're up here, until you float a little bit further off and totally off the screen. You just don't know. But with a baseline, you're going to be able to identify those things because you have something to reference back to. So let's take a look at this email I got. It's been a while since I wrote to you. I was taking a break from active trading after making poor risk management choices and went back to the courses to get my mind right. Let's focus on that first phrase, back to the courses. In this example, they're going back to their baseline. That happens to be my training program, but that is their baseline, the courses. So they are going back to it. They're referencing. So now they have some sort of just kind of point to focus on where they can start to what? Where they can start to analyze all this up here. What's going on, what should be going on. And then you notice that they've already identified the main culprit to their problem. What do they say? Risk management. They said, I've been making poor choices when it comes to risk and how to manage it. Now that is still a broad statement, but to me that makes a whole lot of sense because that can be a problem. And within the training courses, they definitely know how to make better risk management choices. But this is a great example too of there being no shame if you need to hit the pause button on your trading. If you need to get away for a while, get your mind right, do some studying again, there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes I think people get the impression that once you start trading, if you just decide, I need to take a break, that's some sort of waving the white flag, giving up or something stupid. No, that's nothing like that at all. That should be respected. That should be admired because at least you're not sitting there lying to yourself. No, I got it all figured out. No, I got it all figured out. Yeah, trust me, I got it all. People are just like, so first off, and another lesson, there is no shame at all in hitting the pause button and getting your mind right. So let's continue on with this email. This morning I was watching the chat room alerts like I usually do and went chart by chart looking for one that matched my comfort level. MNTA had gapped down significantly and the chart looked promising. I applied the techniques I learned in the course and went long pre-bell, all stops in place. The market opened and the price climbed. I followed it up by adjusting my stop, and when the trip ended 9 minutes later, I had profited $276. So what happened now? Well, they went through like I said, all the analysis problems of figuring out what exactly was going on, and they brought themselves from this point back down to their baseline where they should be. They went through, they applied what they learned. He kept mentioning stops. That's very powerful, and you could tell he was manipulating them and using them in the right way. And on he went with his journey back with the baseline. The power of a baseline, the power of a frame of reference. Let's finish up this email. In 9 minutes, the inner circle paid for itself 3 times over. The system works, the inner circle is not a gimmick, and the Clay Trader University courses are worth every penny. Thank you for putting it all together and creating a family of educated traders. And then down below there you can see a screenshot where he's pointing out that he did indeed make those profits in 9 minutes. And this last part I am absolutely going to use as a plug for my courses and my community, which is the Inner Circle. He said it paid for itself 3 times over. What is he referring to? Well, the cost of the trading community, which is the online chat room, and then my newsletter that I send out every weekend, is $99 per year, not per month, per year. So he paid for multiple years in one trade. And then also Clay Trader University is my program that I offer that does kind of teach you it does teach you step by step. Starts off assuming you know nothing and then gets more and more advanced from that point and goes forward. So I would definitely, I'm biased, but check those out. If you enjoy these free videos that I do, the other content on the YouTube channel or on the site, then you're gonna like my style. You clearly like my style. So you're going to enjoy the premium content too if you decide to go that route. But again, if there's somebody else that you just, you like their style better, teaching style, and you don't want to go with them, that's fine too. But just realize the importance of getting a baseline, establishing a baseline, because when you have that, you have a frame of reference. And when you have a frame of reference, you can start to diagnose problems, figure out what's going wrong, why it's going wrong, and exactly the steps that need to be taken to put yourself back inside of the baseline foundation that you need to be. So get out there, establish a baseline, give yourself a frame of reference. If you are out there trading alone currently and maybe are in the market looking for a community to join to assist you in your trading or to just help you, give you another set of eyeballs, then I do have a private trading community where you can trade alongside me and other experienced traders. So what you see popping up on the screen right now is both an information link. So if you click on the inner circle one, that is going to take you to the page where I explain all the details of what exactly come with the community, both the chat room and the newsletter. And then the other image that has popped up is a behind the scenes tour where you can see exactly what is going to be contained within the community. I take you through, like I said, a behind the scenes tour of everything, and that way you'll know precisely what you are getting when you join. So definitely check that stuff out if you are interested and thinking about wanting to join a community, and let me know if you have any questions.